Good morning. Okay, so this will be our first lecture about the subject anatomy and physiology of human. So I already have sent in your Google Classroom for the first module, and module 1 is about concepts in anatomy and physiology, its relatedness and its difference of anatomy and the physiology. And we also tackled in that module movement, the types of movement, and different terminologies. So why do we need to study anatomy and of course physiology of human being? Because as a future PE teacher or a future coach, or you can become also a future personal trainer and so many more, anatomy and physiology of human being provides knowledge about body structure, and it also helps when you select your aids, because it will protect you from sports injuries, and they can also help you in the process of rehabilitation. When we say process of rehabilitation, it's when you are already healing, whatever injuries you are experiencing, or you are attending some rehabilitation, or you are going into the doctor for the curing of your sports injuries. Next. What is anatomy? What is anatomy? Anatomy is the study of the structure of the body. In the study of the structure of the body, you have the knowledge. Okay, again. In the study of the structures of the body, you have the knowledge of the body structure. A sport person knows about strength, and you will also know about weaknesses of your body. And accordingly, you can develop for the field of your chosen field, which is suitable for a certain sport as per body structure. Like for example, if you have a tall structure, so you can be best in basketball game. So you can be a basketball player. Next is, what is physiology all about? So physiology is the study of how structures work. When you say how structures work, it is called functions. It is, in short, it is the study of how the structure works in our body. And this will help you provide basic knowledge about human body, because it also helps in clearing the fundamental concepts as how bodies function. With the help of our subject, you will get to learn not only the theoretical concepts, but also practical functionalities of human bodies. Next, what is movement? Of course, movement is an act or process of moving, and especially changing place or position. It is when you are raising your hand, walking, that is movement. Anything that you do when you transfer, when you change Another thing is what's human movement all about? Human movement is achieved by a complex and highly coordinated mechanical interaction between bones, muscles, ligaments, and joints within the musculoskeletal system under the control of the nervous system. That is according to Kaohsiung Journal of Medicine. So, in the human body, there are more joints and muscles than are necessary for performing our daily motor tasks. Is the need of your joints and your muscles. It is for you to perform your daily motor tasks. How can anatomy and physiology related to human? Anatomy is a study of the structures of the body, while physiology is the study of its functions. So meaning, both have a close relation and nothing without another. Physical education is the depth of sports. Through this, we know that what is on the back of every game. The game and the body has a correlation. Again, the game and the body has correlation. Why? Because a sound body can perform a good sports. And in sports, we need to have an idea or knowledge about our muscles, our bones, and all the other body systems. So, meaning, your body and the movement cannot be separated. Of course, you cannot play a certain game when you are not using your body. So you have to really make use of your body. So for you to be able to make use of your body, you have to in-depth sports by understanding human movement, by understanding what is physical education all about. Okay. Next, here are the different types of movement which are very important in understanding movement all about, in understanding anatomy all about, and in understanding physiology. So first is flexion and extension. Okay. So flexion and extension are movements that take place within the sagittal plane and involve anterior or posterior movements of the body or now, when we say for the vertebral column, that is, what do you do in the vertebral column? You do flexion and you also do extension. Flexion is, we call that anterior flexion. So meaning when we say anterior, that is forward. So when you are bending your neck or your body forward, that is anterior flexion. So why extension is that it involves posterior directed motion, meaning you are strengthening from a flex position or you are strengthening from your bending backward. Example, you bend your neck or your body forward, that is anterior flexion. But when you straighten your neck or your body, we call that extension. That involves posterior directed motion because you are strengthening your flex position or your bending backward. Tatlong po ang na flex na position or ang imo nga bending forward. Bending forward in extension. So that is we call that extension. Next, another type of movement is that lateral flexion. Hindi akan yun ang ginambal ko, that is bending of the neck or your body toward the right or left side. So I am deepening the hyperextension. What is this hyperextension? It is the abnormal or excessive extension of a joint beyond its normal range of motion, thus resulting in injury. When you are doing your excessive extension, supra-supra nga pag, then, supra-supra nga pag-extend, sorry, that is hyperextension. But it will result to injury. But if the person is really skillful, like those performance in the AGT or American Got Talent, I think I have seen that person who are doing the hyperextension, and the other one is hyperflexion. Hyperflexion is excessive naman flexion at a joint. That is that when hyperextension injuries is happening, it's common at the hinge joints such as your knees or elbow. Once you do excessive extension, then you will experience some injuries which are commonly happen in our hinge joint. Where is this hinge joint? That is in your knee or in your elbow. Okay. Next. Okay. What is abduction and adduction? Abduction and adduction are motions that occurs within the coronal plane and involve medial lateral motions of the limbs, of your fingers, and of your toes, or on the floor. That is abduction and extend adduction. Okay. Now, what is abduction? Okay. Abduction is when you move the limb laterally away from the midline of your body. Again, when you move the limb laterally or lateral away from the midline of your body. For example, abduction for the abduction, raising the arm at the shoulder joint, moving it laterally away from the body. Okay. That is abduction. Another thing is adduction. What is adduction? Adduction is the opposing movement that brings the limb toward the body or across the midline. So that is the adduction. Now, example of adduction is you are bringing the arm down to the side of the body. It's the opposite of abduction. Similarly, abduction and adduction at the wrist moves the hand away from or toward the midline of the body. Spreading the fingers or toes apart is also abduction, while bringing your fingers or toes together is adduction. So again, when you are spreading your fingers, that is abduction. When you are bringing all the fingers or your toes together is adduction. Next is circumduction. Okay. What is circumduction? It is the movement of the body region in a circular manner in which one end of the body region being moved stays relatively stationary while the other end describes a circle. That is circumduction. So this circumduction involves sequential combination of flexion, adduction, extension, and abduction. So meaning, circumduction circumduction is a combination of the four types of movement, such as flexion, adduction, extension, and abduction. When you do all those four movements, you extend, you adduct, you extend, you flex, you adduct, you extend, and you abduct, then we call that circumduction. Okay. So this type of motion is found at the biaxial, condyloid, and saddle joints, or your multi-axial ball and socket. Those joints that has ball and socket. Ball and socket. Ang joint pa lang may ball and socket. Yung mga ano talaga, ang mga tubod na shoulder. We have ball and socket. So, ang isa ka, the other bone has bone at the end, and the other one has a socket. Next, rotation. What is rotation? Rotation occurs within the vertebral column at a pivot joint or at a ball and the socket joint. Rotation of the neck or body is the twisting movement produced by the summation of the small rotational movements available between adjacent vertebrae. So, rotation, one is your pivot joint. Anything that can do pivot. It's the bone that rotates in relation to another bone. Then that is rotation. I'm not only talking of the I'm talking also of a certain parts of the body that is doing its movement when it comes to these different types of movement. So this is aNATOMY joint. So thus rotation is the only motion allowed at a pivot joint. Okay. Next, supination and PRONATION. Okay. So tandaan niyo because these terminologies are also used in some of the subjects. Supination and PRONATION are movements of the forearm. Forearm. This one. That is your forearm. It is the anatomical position. Supination is, okay, what's supination and what's PRONATION all about? Okay. Supination is the anatomical position. Then the upper limb is held next to the body with the palm facing forward. So that is the supinated position of the forearm. Again, in the anatomical position, the upper limb is held next to the body with the palm facing forward. This is the supinated position of the forearm. Supination is the opposite motion in which rotation of the ridges returns the moves to their parallel position and moves the palm to the anterior facing or supinated position. Okay. Next, what is PRONATION? Okay, that is supination. What about PRONATION? PRONATIOn is the radius and the ulna, which is parallel to each other. When the palm of the hands faces backward, the forearm is in the pronated position. The radius and the ulna form an X shape. So pronation is the motion that moves the forearm from the supinated anatomical position to the pronated palm backward position. Okay, so the pronation. Okay. Next, dorsiflexion and plantar flexion. Dorsiflexion and plantar flexion are movements at the ankle joint, which is a hinge joint. So your ankle joint is also the anatomical terminology that is hinge joint. Lifting the front of the foot so that the top of the foot moves toward the anterior leg is called dorsiflexion, while the heel of the foot from the ground or pointing the toes downward is plantar flexion. Okay. Next, inversion and eversion. Inversion and eversion are very complex movements that involve the multiple plane joints among the tarsal bones of the posterior foot, or what we call intertarsal joints, and thus are not motions that take place at the ankle joints. That is inversion. While the eversion is that, Another thing, inversion is the turning of the foot to the ankle, the bottom of the foot toward the line. While the eversion is when you turn the bottom of your foot away from the line. So I will not perform those types of movements because I wanted you to discover the movement. Because your module is self-learning. So I want you also, I am giving you some theories. I want you to discover the movement. Okay. So inversion is turning of the foot to the ankle, the bottom of the foot toward the midline, while eversion is turning the bottom of the foot away from the midline. So yeah, inversion is toward the midline, while eversion is away from the midline. Those are the important functions that help to stabilize the foot when walking or when running or an unseen surface. It will help you or it will aid you in the quick side-to-side changes in direction used during active sports such as basketball, racquetball, or soccer. So this inversion and eversion is very helpful. That when you master this kind of movement, you will be away from any injuries because this kind of movement is usually done or is usually used in basketball, in racquetball, and in soccer. Another thing, what is protraction and retraction? Okay. Protraction and retraction. Protraction and retraction are anterior and at the same time posterior movements of the scapula or mandible. Protraction of the scapula occurs when the shoulder is moved forward, as when pushing against something or throwing a ball. Retraction is the opposite motion of protraction, with the scapula being pulled posteriorly and medially toward the vertebral column. Okay. For the mandible, the protraction occurs when the lower jaw is pushed forward without the chin, while retraction pulls the lower back, the lower jaw back. So this is protraction and this is retraction. Protraction is when your lower jaw is pushed forward. Then you stick out your chin there. That is protraction. Retraction is when you pull your lower jaw backward. Next. Okay. Next is excursion. Excursion is the side-to-side movement side to side. What's this side to side? That's lateral excursion and medial excursion. Lateral excursion is when you move your mandible away from the midline toward either the right or left side. While your medial excursion is when you return your mandible to its resting position at the midline. Okay. Next, depression and elevation. Okay. Depression and elevation are downward and upward movements of the scapula or mandible. Mandible is what we call your scapula. Now, the upward movement of the scapula and the suture is elevation. The scapula and the suture is elevation, while the downward movement is elevation. These movements are used to shrug your suture. So, upward movement of your scapula, that is elevation. When you move your scapula and your shoulder downward, then that is depression. Similarly, the elevation of the mandible is the upward movement of the lower jaw, used to close the mouth or bite on something. Okay. The depression is the downward movement that produces opening the mouth. Okay. That is in the mandible. The elevation of the mandible. So depression and elevation. Again, the upward movement of the scapula and the suture is elevation, while the downward movement is depression. Okay. So, for today's activity, what you are going to do is to perform the different basic skills in basketball, like dribbling, passing, shooting, running, and jumping. Then analyze the movement done. Then in each skill, write down if what are the types of movement you have performed. Write it in a bullet form in our Google Classroom. And it will be due tonight at 11. Thank you very much for listening and for attending my class. God bless.